the kind of house that never quite let you feel alone, even when silence wrapped every room and every clock had stopped ticking long ago. When Emily Harrow inherited her grandmother's Victorian estate on the edge of Windmere, a forgotten village in northern Maine, she felt oddly drawn to the place, not out of sentiment, for she barely knew the old woman, but by the mystery that clung to it like fog over the hills. The house, a towering relic with ivy-twisted gables and stained-glass windows depicting saints she couldn't name, had sat untouched for over a decade, as if time had sealed it in mourning. Locals avoided it, their eyes shifting nervously whenever she asked about its history, whispering old tales of shadows in the windows and children who went missing in the woods behind it. But Emily, a literature major and a skeptic by nature, chalked it up to folklore and decay. On her first night, the air inside was cold and dry, heavy with dust and something else she couldn't name, like the lingering breath of someone watching. The attic door creaked open on its own that night, a long, aching sound like a throat clearing in a dark theater. She thought it was just the house settling, until she began hearing voices, not during the day, but always between midnight and 3. Soft, hushed tones like arguments whispered through the walls, in a language she didn't recognize but could almost understand. She tried recording the sounds on her phone, but playback yielded only static. Every night, they grew more distinct. One voice, raspy urgent, began calling her name. Emily. Emily. She bought sage, lit candles, recited prayers she hadn't spoken since childhood. Nothing worked. Every morning she'd find the attic door open, even after she'd locked it, nailed it, barricaded it with furniture. She finally went up during the day. The attic was filled with her grandmother's old things, dust-covered trunks, antique dolls with cracked porcelain faces, faded letters bound in silk ribbon. In the corner sat a rocking chair, swaying ever so slightly as if someone had just stood from it. There was a mirror propped against the far wall, draped in a moth-eaten sheet. When she pulled the cloth aside, her reflection didn't move. It stared at her with glassy eyes and a mouth that twitched into a cruel smile. She slammed it back under the sheet and ran downstairs, but from that day on, her reflection sometimes lingered in mirrors a second too long, its head tilting in ways hers didn't. She stopped looking into them. Then the dreams began, her grandmother standing in the attic, whispering in tongues, her eyes black as coal, surrounded by children whose faces were blurred as if erased. Emily awoke screaming more nights than not, finding scratches on her arms and words etched in the condensation on her windows. Let them speak. She researched the house and found that it had once belonged to a man named Emily Harrow, her great-grandfather, an obscure spiritualist who held seances during the 1920s. Local archives showed records of missing people, all vanishing within a 10-mile radius of the house. Emily discovered her grandmother had been born in that house and lived there all her life, alone, unmarried, childless, until suddenly naming Emily's father in her will as her only son. But her father never spoke of her, claiming she died before he was born. The records didn't align. Something was wrong. One evening, the whispers turned into full voices, clear and desperate. Help us. Free us. She won't let go. Emily climbed the attic stairs with trembling hands, her flashlight flickering with each step. When she reached the top, she heard crying, soft sobs of children hidden among the shadows. The mirror was glowing faintly. Drawn to it, she watched as ghostly figures appeared in its depths, children, women, men, faces twisted in agony. Her grandmother stood behind them, eyes vacant, lips moving without sound. Emily touched the mirror, and the surface rippled like water. A voice boomed from within. You are the last. The blood opens the door. A searing pain shot through her hand. She pulled it back to find a long cut across her palm. Blood smeared the glass. The attic shifted, the air thickened, and the walls groaned. The mirror shattered, unleashing a scream so loud it knocked her backward. Spirits erupted from the glass like smoke, rushing through the attic and down into the house, crying in joy, in grief, in fury. And then it was silent. Emily awoke hours later on the attic floor. The rocking chair was still. The mirror was gone. The attic door stayed shut after that. No voices. No whispers. Just quiet. She moved out within a week. The house sold to a preservation group who planned to restore it. But last month, a worker disappeared during renovations. The police report said he was last seen heading toward the attic. Emily now lives in Portland, far from Windermere, but some nights she wakes to find her phone playing static, and in the screen's reflection, just for a moment, a child's blurred face behind her shoulder.